So a topic that is worth discussion is mentors and mentorship. I get asked the question often about my career and how my career has evolved and what are the turning points and what are the things that led me down certain paths. And for me, I reflect back on my life and realize a lot of it was the mentors I had along the way. And there's different types of mentors. For example, within the industry, the pool industry, there's industry leaders that have built really amazing careers around unique styles of projects, and some names would be David Tischerman and Brian Van Bauer, for me, Skip Phillips and Lou Akins, and there's a whole bunch of those guys that have just paved the road to do really cool things. And I would call them industry mentors, people that I've been able to look up to in terms of what it was they were doing and where they were going and how they were sort of creating a new path in the industry. But when I think mentorship, I don't think about so much that in terms of somebody who's maybe gone before me, but rather the people that have literally changed my life. So for example, for me, one of my mentors was a guy named Alex Attard, who I happened to meet him. What he did was he loved to take old things and create new things with them. And I just happened to meet him. I saw something he had for sale on the side of the road in his yard, and I stopped to talk to him and realized that he had created this whole theme in his backyard, and he had taken all of these old repurposed things and created this really cool environment. And what that did was it shifted how I viewed a pool project. I took his idea with what he was doing in his yard, and he'd been doing it over 25 years. But I took that idea and said, how could I take some of the principles that he lives by and that he's mentored me on and apply them directly to my business? That's a type of mentor that I don't know that you can go out looking for them and go throughout the world and look, but if you stay aware, they show up. So Alex would be a great mentor for me. Another guy would be somebody in the industry. His name is Jack Roberts. He was just leaving our market here in Michigan when I was sort of getting into the market in terms of I'd bought the company. And he had some projects to finish up. And I was building really simple pools. The basis for the company that I had purchased was real simple projects, build a lot of them. And Jack had a bunch of projects that were unfinished that needed to be finished. And I said, I'm the guy, I can do this. And I saw some of these unique designs and some of these different things that really stretched my mind in terms of what a pool could be. Now, granted, this was 20 years ago, so what we see as pools today as really cool and flashy 20 years ago was a different story. But what that did, and I would call Jack a mentor for that reason alone, is he gave me that next boost. And I could get away from doing just the cookie cutter thing, where there's nothing wrong with that. That's an industry. That's a business. It's a flourishing business. But for me, it wasn't my passion. But Jack helped me see that there was way more beyond that basic pool. So there's those types of mentorship things that I think all of us need to pay attention to. I look forward to the next mentor for me. I try to, something I've led my whole life with is, how can I learn something from everyone I meet? How can I see beauty in everyone I meet? And interestingly enough, from an art perspective, I realized this in high school, that there's beauty in everyone and beauty in everything. And a great example, and it's kind of it's a harsh example, but real. We all had to, in art class, had to model. And we had to get up, and each one of us had to spend 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes in front of class and model while the rest of the kids in our class drew us. And there was a particular girl in the class who had a very large nose. It was very unattractive. And when you looked at her, this is me now, 16 and 17-year-old kid, that's all I could see. And I exaggerated on that, and therefore I didn't see the beauty of who she was until she stood up in front of class. And when she stood there and I was drawing her, I looked past the nose and saw the rest of the face and the rest of the form and the figure, and I realized what a beautiful person she was, but all I could see was the surface, was something on the surface. And that taught me at 16 and 17 years old to never look at what's on the surface. So it goes to mentorship as well. You never know who that next mentor is going to be and how they will change your life. And I have a handful, there's a half a dozen people that have really changed the course of my life that I would consider mentors. But I couldn't have sought them out. I couldn't have planned for them. They just showed up and I listened. And because I slowed down and I listened enough, it changed my life.